All right, fam, we back in this thing with a reaction and commentary, of course. So, Trump haters, as you see right here, it says Trump haters plan to ban sex to protest election results and gender attacks. All right. Let's see exactly what they mean by this. Hold on, let's go.
Is the 4B movement meltdown.
No matter how loud, how kind, respectful, how cute, men will still hate you.
Women are talking about bringing that 4B movement right here to the United States.
Operation 4B.
Refuse to date men, get married, have sex with them, or children.
All I have to say is good luck getting laid. Me and my girlies are participating in the 4B movement.
No more kitty cat for moderate men.
No attention to men. Delete blog.
No coochie? What? No more kitty cat for the modern man. What's 4B? All right, I'm not sure what 4B means.
Do not respond to them.
Government cares that they're not having kids because children are the future labor force.
I'm gonna start barking and getting crazy.
It is the best thing I've ever done for my mental health. We're not crazy. We have to do this together.
Do not acknowledge them. Do not look at them. Do not laugh at their jokes.
Why exactly are you going to keep becoming subservient to a nation that doesn't literally care about you?
Wake women up.
Yeah. Okay, then. Let's talk to Laurie Laird, US political commentator and business analyst. Laurie, very good morning to you.
Good morning, Mike.
Don't talk to men, don't laugh at their jokes, and whatever you do, don't end up in bed with them. I mean, has the world gone completely mad?
Yes.
Yeah, I think there's not a whole lot of sense in this one. Although this movement actually started in South Korea, where there really is sort of an imbalance between genders. But I think that we risk. This is comical, and I'm not aware of any great outpouring of support for this movement. I think it's getting a lot of coverage because it seems so off the wall. Yeah. But I don't have any friends, colleagues, or anything else who is trying to convince me to join this movement. Otherwise, I wouldn't get to talk to you.
Well, exactly right. You'd have to be ignored. You'd have to sit there and just ignore me. You know, you could pretend I wasn't here.
And who could do that?
But of course,
would be a very dull interview, wouldn't it?
It would. Let's talk about Donald Trump, though, because he's already hit the ground running. We heard earlier on from him about what he plans to do with illegal migrants. Here's what he plans to do about sex and gender. Have a look.
I will ask Congress to pass a bill establishing that the only genders recognized by the United States government are male and female, and they are assigned at birth. The bill will also make clear that Title IX prohibits men from participating in women's sports, and we will protect the rights of parents from being forced to allow their minor child to assume a gender which is new and an identity without the parents' consent. The identity will not be new, and it will not be without parental consent. No serious country should be telling its children that they were born with the wrong gender, a concept that was never heard of in all of human history. Nobody's ever heard of this, what's happening today. It was all when the radical left invented it just a few years ago. Under my leadership, this madness will end. Thank you very much.
Speaking to an analyst earlier, Laurie, he was not sure that he could just manage to sweep this all aside. But, I mean, hopefully he can. But, I mean, it may not be as easy as he thinks, right?
Well, I don't know. You know, if Donald Trump gets control of both houses of Congress, it's already quite clear. And I say Donald Trump, I mean the Republican Party. The Republican Party has a clear lead in the Senate. That is the upper chamber. That will make things a lot easier for Donald Trump to pass legislation.
So, what do you guys think? President-elect curb trans youth health providers, so no benefits for that, and educators. I think I hate to say it, that it's pretty radical, because the way society has gone. I'm not sure whose fault it is or what point to blame, but it's pretty interesting. I mean, it's a pretty bold statement as well, too. And the 4B movement, I got to figure out or understand what that really is. So we'll see. Let's see what else they got going on here.
That is important to him. We're still waiting for a final vote for the House of Representatives. That's the lower house. Donald Trump's Republican Party is only a couple of seats away from taking that. This is important because we speak so much about the presidential race, and you know it's a lot sexier. personality driven. But the fact that the Republican Party may be able to take the presidency and the entirety of the legislature certainly means that Donald Trump will be able to get his agenda, whatever that may be, through a hospitable Congress. I think one of the questions that I have, Mike, is because Donald Trump is now term limited, he cannot run for the office of president again. Does this mean over the next 4 years, does that stranglehold he has over the Republican Party, will that go away? Will he still be able to be the party kingmaker as he has been for the past 8 years? Even when Donald Trump was out of office in those 4 years, he was still the most powerful Republican voice in the country. As a private citizen, he was able to influence what legislation was taken up by the Republican-led House of Representatives. Does that power continue if he is not going to be in the highest office in the land in 4 years' time?
Well, I guess it will continue for as long as he's in power in the White House, because at the end of the day, he is still the kingmaker. Whoever comes after him will have to have his seal of approval, I would imagine. And I guess it depends.
And that's the question. And I think this is a really interesting debate to have. Donald Trump is... The Republican Party has been a vehicle for his political ambitions. Remember, he was a Democrat at one point not all that long ago. And if he cannot be as influential in politics going down the road, which by definition he can't, right? There's no more powerful position than President of the United States. As that power starts to wane in the years to come, will he still be as influential?
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see whether that happens.
I think that's maybe a conversation for 2 or 3 years down the road. I mean, for now,
we might be getting ahead of ourselves.
More interesting is what he does in the first 2 years of being in. And at the moment, it looks as though he's going to completely rip up any accords that were in place in terms of illegal migrants. He talks about having them executed if they come back into this country and they shoot a law enforcement officer or anything like that.
He gonna have them executed. They come back over. Okay, so this is just basically I'm gonna finish out a little bit more of the interview to see if it's still relevant to what we're talking about here, and just to see, because I hadn't really kept up with it after Trump I think he won basically. So let's just see exactly what more are they talking about. It's gonna be interesting, the things that are to come, so maybe we'll bring some more of this, but not too much politics. We want to still have fun, and not just commentating. I mean, doing some commentary on it. It's for entertainment purposes only. If I need to say that, I'm gonna say it now. So let's continue to see what this interview has, and see what they go with it. If not, we're gonna cut this dang thing short, and we're gonna jump to the next video.
He's talked about, locking them up for 10 years if they come back after they've been deported, if they're members of gangs. I mean, he's been quite clever as well.
So lock them up if they come back. So we still have to pay for the ass. Send them back.
Well, he hasn't said we're going to deport everyone. He said he's going to deport members of criminal gangs. So he's already kind of, realised that he can't say that he's going to deport everyone, because that might be more difficult.
Right.
I'm a little unclear, and this is something that people want to hear, although I was really surprised, Mike, and you and I were together when those election results were coming in.
Yeah.
I was quite surprised at some of the exit polls asked people what their most important issue was. And consistently, it seemed to be the economy. And I think that is what won this election for Donald Trump. I was surprised to see how few people put immigration as their top concern, because that's not what polling seemed to indicate going up to the election. Immigration seemed to be quite far down the list, as the reproductive rights, which I think the Democrats was hoping would be a vote winner for them. The economy seemed to be top consistently. I was surprised about that immigration. I'm not
sure I believe those figures actually.
Well, certainly it doesn't seem consistent.
No, I think when you ask people straight out in front of other people, I think they probably don't admit that immigration's a problem, because they don't want to be seen to be horrible. But let me show you, first of all, a couple of other clips. John Sopel, you may or may not know, is a former BBC journalist who now works with this ridiculous outfit called the Newsmakers, or the News Agents rather, He was on TV at the weekend, and this is a guy who, like many of those in the commentariat in this country from the left, were bagging on about how great Joe Biden was and what brilliant, abilities he had, all the way up and leading to the point at which he actually decided to drop out of the race. But have a look at what he says here.
I believe it's going to become one of the great political scandals of our time about how the White House covered up the true physical and mental condition of Joe Biden for the 2 years before we saw him get on the debate stage.
And meanwhile, here's Joe Biden trying to make his way through some sand. This is him walking on a beach. He spends a lot of time on the beach at the moment. It would appear that he's not quite sure what he's doing here. He's sort of turning around there. He's found his wife, and now he's going to walk. We can't quite see what's going on with his feet there for some reason, but you can see him not really walking in the sand in the way that you would normally walk in the sand. We sort of need to have that cropped a slightly different way. But anyway, you see what we mean. Laurie, is there a massive sort of sense of just absolute kind of denial of the truth here? Because everybody knows what happened to Joe Biden. I mean, I could tell you from a year ago that he wasn't compos mentis to run, and I said as much. The idea that nobody in the White House knew that, or that they covered it up, is hardly news, is it?
Well, this is something that...
I mean, we all have our opinions, of course, but of course, I mean, to be very honest with you, Joe Biden did not need the White House. He spent some time there as VP. I mean, I think it's probably an honor and accomplishment to be the president because you go down in history. But nothing is worth your health, and nothing is worth you dying for. You know what I'm saying? Being 80 plus years old, shit. I want to be somewhere chilling. You know what I'm saying? And he made enough money in his career, so uh, yeah, I just think it was a bad time for him to become president. But I think, hey, I just think it was a bad time to become president, and he just became older in the role. So I just hate to say that about him, but God bless him. Let's get this interview up so we can go ahead and finish this video.
I found extremely frustrating with the Democrats. And remember, the Democrats have always been very critical, and I think there is criticism to be had on Donald Trump's stranglehold on the Republican Party. You and I spoke about a few moments ago, but it became very clear after the 27th of June, that was the date of that disastrous debate for Joe Biden, that he had been protected. And I do think that is something that's very concerning. And I'll take you back to a couple of weeks after that debate. You remember George Clooney, the actor, had written an op-ed piece in the New York Times essentially saying, we've known all along, Joe, we've known you're not up to it. Please step aside. Except for the fact that a couple of weeks before, George Clooney had hosted a big fundraiser for Joe Biden. He raised something like $30 million. At that point, George Clooney and his colleagues must have known that Joe Biden wasn't up for it. But somehow the electorate, it didn't seem that anyone thought that they were deserving of being in on this news. So yes, that was something that as a voter, I felt very frustrated.
Yeah, absolutely right. We're just watching Joe trying to walk through the sand. It's quite extraordinary. Listen,
okay,
Laurie,
come on. I have trouble walking through sand sometimes,
right, exactly.
Mike. I bet you don't do that, though. You don't do that. You want to, walking involves lifting your feet up and planting them down again, as opposed to just shuffling forward as if you've got your slippers on.
Fucking media. Hold up. I'm glad it stopped because I was about to stop it. Come on, y'all. We do too much. Media does too much. Hold on. Let me give my face back. Media does too much. So I try not on this channel not to do too much, but just speak what I see. So, but I pray you guys like this. Only found some interest in it. Trump is going to do his thing. You know what I'm saying? And we'll see what it is to come, what laws he passes, and what power he has to bring the things to pass. So, and that 4B thing, I'm not sure what that is. Females not talking to men or making love. I mean, they must all be single because in a consummated type marriage situation, a covenant. That does not fly. But anyway, tell me what your thoughts. You guys comment below. If you're here for the first time, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, join the family. We appreciate it. Appreciate it if you do, as you do. And let me see beautiful people next video. Peace.